Right, hey guys, I'm doing back another video from Totally Not Mark. Now, I really enjoyed the Every Retcon video. I thought that was fun, and he said he was going to do an Every Retcon in the Dragon Ball series. At the time of me recording this, I've gone on to X, and it's randomly popped up that in this video, Mark goes over fixing some of the retcons he did in the last video. So, is he retconning retcons, but then it's going to go over retcons for modern Dragon Ball. Let's just get into it.
Last week, I covered all the retcons in
I really like
Dragon
that video.
Ball, and this week, I am retconning that list and expanding into the retcons of modern Dragon Ball.
Okay.
The list in this newer video that you are watching right now is the canon for Totally Not Mark moving
Retconning.
forward. Do not question me, and so the following are not retcons. Number 1, Goku's tail. Number 2, Bulma's knowledge of the Dragon Balls. Number 11, Kunti-Woon's death. Number 14, radio waves. That one I just got wrong, so let's go with that. Number 19, Baba's powers. Number 23, the Dragon Balls have a creator, and many, many more. These are my retcons to the Totally Not Mark canon. The last video does not exist anymore, and you can forget what I said that time.
Oh, okay, this is a lot.
Alright, so you see what I'm doing here? That sucks, right? That is a bold-faced contradiction, and that is a terrible retcon. It's frustrating. And look, I'll hold my hand up. In my haste to try and find as many retcons as I could, I brought in my reach too far, and now I need to contradict the Totally Not Mark. What I meant to say was that I actually planned this video all along as a
genius, so clever.
retconning my own video. Yeah, that'll do. There are obviously plenty of very overt retcons and contradictions in the Dragon Ball canon proper. The Dragon Balls can grant any wish? No, they can't. Vegeta signed up for the Tenkaichi Budokai to fight Gohan. No, he didn't.
Okay.
Trunks says that androids 19 and 20 destroyed his timeline. Trunks, why would you lie to us like that? I thought we were tight. No, not that tight. That one is even more complicated, and I don't want to get this video's already giving me a headache. Okay, so the truth is, retcons that explicitly contradict what was said before can make us angry, confused, and more than anything, they can stick in our minds.
Yeah.
It is often said that a viewer won't remember what you said, but they will recall how you made them feel. And due to this, we remember the retcons that made us confused or angry, and the rest just fade away into the background. And fittingly, in addition to many of you correctly pointing out the elements from last week's list that weren't retcons, there was a surprisingly large contingent that argued against retcons that I thought were basically inarguable. And now, after doing some digging, I think I know why. It turns out, first and foremost, that retcons themselves are very tricky literary devices to even discuss. So much so that actual literary scholars to this day debate their definition and application.
Oh, okay. So actually properly defining a retcon is quite a difficult task,
so
right?
Today,
Okay.
we are going to do what the so-called literary scholars couldn't and try to figure out what retcons were actually in Dragon Ball. And from there, march into the retcon-riddled Wild West of modern Dragon Ball to find out once and for all just how many retcons there actually are
is,
overall.
right, okay.
Oh god, I can feel the migraine already. Hit the music. Alrighty, so as I said, before we get to all those juicy modern Dragon Ball retcons, we're going to have to take a step back, reassess exactly what a retcon even is, and, well, radically adjust our previous list. So, for that to begin, I want to establish two things. Number 1, lots of my retcons in the old video are just flat out not retcons. And number 2, most people's understanding of what a retcon actually isn't quite complete, including my own. The second point here is actually a big part of why I included a section reading the dictionary definition of retcons.
I was going to say, yeah, we went through the definition in the beginning of it.
When people think of retcons, they almost exclusively think of changes that contradict something previous in the story, which are retcons, but not all retcons are contradictions. If we throw the definition back up on screen for a sec, I can pretty easily highlight my error because it's right here. I focused hard on the imposes bit and failed to properly consider the previously described events part. In order for something to be a retcon, it doesn't necessarily have to outright contradict what came before. It can be supplementary or additive, but whatever it's adding, supplementing, or contradicting, it needs to do so to something already established by the narrative.
Right, okay.
And so, with all that understood, let's retcon my previous list real quick. So first up, we have a batch of these that, well, they're just plain wrong. Okay, you're
Damn.
a chemist or physicist or whatever you are. I hear you.
That's a
Radio
lot.
waves are not distinct to electromagnetic waves. They are simply a subset. I just misread Google. That's on me. But
Oh
even
no,
Google
I
had
think
outright wrong.
I remember like really agreeing with that one as well. Oh god damn, oh wow.
Honestly, with Bulma not knowing the Dragon Balls fly away, even though she absolutely does, and Boo's origin being changed from time immemorial to being created by Bibidi. I just had that last one backwards. And more than that, the time immemorial thing came from a random interview, no less. And if we throw all those retcons away, we instantly lose this many off the list. Okay, okay, so let's get that graphic off the screen. It's making me sad. And so this next section I'm calling not retcons, but reveals.
Right.
As I said before, a retcon, whether contradictory or just adding new information, needs to be affecting a piece of story information that was previously established. When you have new information that isn't affecting something previously established, that is just a reveal, or a revelation, or an evolution. Look, it can be many things, but it's not necessarily a retcon.
Hey, did he just say evolution?
Is by far the biggest group of mistakes I made in the last video. You can only stay in the hyperbolic time chamber for 48 hours? Well, that is new information to us, but it also doesn't affect anything previously established. It's just a reveal.
Right.
Demon King Piccolo
Okay,
controlled
yeah.
himself via an egg? Well, yeah, sure, we didn't know that before, but he's a magic demon guy, and the unknown trumps all. And don't even get me
Fair
started
enough,
on this
actually.
one. But ultimately, I just got too caught up on the idea that any new information about something already existing is retroactive continuity. And as a result, we crossed these guys out. Okay, so then lastly, we have
My
the
God.
trickiest of my mistakes. And, well, they're not actually so much mistakes as they are debatable. And you guys can debate these too in the comments if you want. I'm sure you will. To explain this, let's look at number 47. So what I said here is true. The entirety of the Saiyan arc, Vegeta does not once refer to himself as a prince or royalty or anything of the sort.
Okay.
The only way he describes himself is specifically as an
An
elite
elite
Saiyan
warrior,
a
yeah.
top class and so on. Then, an arc later, it comes to light that Vegeta is in fact the Prince of the Saiyans, and that quickly becomes a staple of his character. By even the correct definition, this is a retcon. It is a piece of new information that imposes a different interpretation on previously described events or information. However, someone could absolutely make the argument that just because Vegeta never once said he was a prince, it doesn't necessarily mean it's a retcon.
Yeah.
This just goes back to the previous idea that most people think of retcons as
Yeah, it's like just because Vegeta's not stated, it doesn't mean that it wasn't a thing already thrown out in the story. Okay.
purely contradictory, but however, as I've now established, sometimes retcons just expand or tweak the context of old information rather than outright changing or contradicting it. And this would be one of those times. Or at least it could be. I mean, it really depends on who you ask. Now, I think the best way to compare and contrast this is to look at two key pieces of info in the Saiyan saga. Goku being a Saiyan and Piccolo being a Namekian.
Namekian,
They
okay.
both sound very similar, but only one of these is for sure a retcon. For Piccolo, it was originally stated by himself and everyone else to be a demon.
Demon.
That is his nature. It was established as a fact. Then the Saiyan arc comes around and says, well, actually, he's not a demon. He's an alien race known as Namekian.
Namekians, yeah.
That is a change or contradiction to something that was explicitly established by the narrative. That is, of course, before Daima, but okay, I'll get onto that later. Okay, so now let's compare that with Goku's Saiyan reveal. There are many times in original Dragon Ball where Goku's true nature is speculated or alluded to, but it is never outright established as a fact. And as a result, whether Goku's alien origin is a retcon depends entirely on how you interpret the story. If you personally read Dragon Ball and concluded from all of those comments that Goku was factually assumed to be an Earthling before, just with a weird tail, then yeah, it is a retcon. But if you assume that his true nature was never actually established, rather left vague to be filled in later, then, well, surprise, it's not a retcon
right,
for you.
yeah.
And so, with all of this in mind, we have a final category that I will call nebulous retcons that stay on this list, but with highlights or asterisks.
Right, oh my
Okay,
gosh.
and with that, we have retconned our list from a whopping 77 elements all the way down to a measly, smaller, but still impressive 38. If
Okay.
nothing else, I think you can see that the original point I made in the video still stands.
Nearly
Toriyama's
half.
writing style is chaotic and freeform.
Yeah.
And as a result, these were nightmares to iron out. But hey, in reviewing these, I actually found 2 more retcons to add to the list, making the total for original Dragon Ball 40 retcons. Okay, and one final thing. I can already see people commenting and typing up replies about how a few of these remaining ones aren't retcons, like this one with Goku never seeing another human. Okay, yeah, I saw all of your replies, but while most of my retcons may have not been retcons, I am right on this one. And I can prove it. In the Q&A at the end of the volume, Toriyama himself answers a reader's comment by admitting that what he wrote retcons that earlier sentence from Goku. Okay? There is no debate. That is 100% a retcon. Doesn't matter how you've interpreted it, this is how he intended it to be written, and he concedes in that moment that it is in fact a retcon. And there's a similar story for this one of Raditz going to the afterlife following his death at Piccolo's hands. I know Kami speculates an explanation for why that happened, but the fact is, it was established by the narrative that people killed by demons cannot move into the afterlife, and then Raditz did anyway. Just because Toriyama works on explaining that retcon with Kami and then later with a Namekian retcon, that doesn't mean that the original change wasn't there. Okay.
All right.
We've done the training.
Yeah.
It's time to tackle the retcon nightmare.
All
that
right.
is the modern Dragon Ball collection.
Let's go.
All right, let's kick things off with Jocko the Galactic Patrolman. Number 1. Tights might not necessarily be a retcon, but the fact Bulma and her family knows Jocko in addition to Tights possessing the ability to contact him certainly is.
Yeah,
it
that's
makes
a
the
bit
gang's
weird.
concerns and struggles following the Saiyan arc to find a way to Namek utterly nonsensical. Because why didn't they just contact
Jocko, yeah.
Even her dad knew him. Number 2. Goku arrives on Earth wearing Saiyan armor, apparently. That's it. That's the retcon.
Oh, yeah,
Number
okay,
3.
yeah.
According to Jocko and Minus, Planet Vegeta exploded in the year 739, which is not 737 as previously thought. And as a result, Goku's age gets weird. Number 4. On the topic of Dragon Ball Minus, Goku's origin is retconned completely, with it contradicting what Raditz outlined at the start of the Saiyan arc. He wasn't sent to destroy it, but instead to escape the planet Vegeta's
Yeah,
fate.
it does change it.
Number
doesn't it?
5. In Chapter 1 of Dragon Ball, the license plate on Bulma's car reads PF8801. However, the very same car seen in Jocko the Galactic Patrolman reads 01CC05.
Okay, yeah.
Number 6. In Chapter 113 of Dragon Ball Z, Bardock appears as a memory of Frieza's. However, his design is entirely different in Dragon Ball Minus, and if that isn't clear enough for you, it is also entirely different in Broly, where the exact moment Frieza is recalling is shown. Number 7. Frieza openly talks about Super Saiyan and Super Saiyan God to his underlings, which retcons what his underlings knew to begin with. In the Namek arc, both Zarbon and Dodoria are convinced he destroyed the planet to defend against the population rising up. There is nothing to do with a Super Saiyan,
Saiyans,
much
yeah.
less a Super Saiyan God. And speaking of which, let's move into Battle of Gods.
Oh.
Number 8. Beerus, a god of destruction, is the new most powerful being in the universe, despite never being mentioned or alluded to by anyone that should have known.
Yeah, it was
including
brand new,
Shin
wasn't it?
and Kinkai, who have apparently been dreading his return. Number 9. Beerus takes the blame for Planet Vegeta's destruction away from Frieza. How nice. Number 10. Beerus drove the dinosaurs to extinction on Earth, which, I mean, it's a strange thing to throw in there because there
They
are
are still
tons
around,
of
yeah.
dinosaurs on Earth. There's even one in this film. Number 11. This one doesn't come from Battle of Gods, but it is mentioned.
Oh.
In Yo Son Goku and his friend's return, an OVA that
Vegeta's
took
brother.
place a little bit earlier than this in the timeline, Vegeta is retconned to having a younger, living brother, despite Raditz specifically confirming that only he, Nappa, Vegeta, and Goku remained following the planet's destruction. Number 12. Actually, you know what? Wait, before I get to that, this one isn't actually a retcon, but it is one that people get wrong quite a lot, so let's talk about it. So once it's revealed that Beerus trapped Old Kai inside the Z-Sword, people got all up in arms about it, complaining that it was actually a witch that did that and it was an inconsistent retcon, blah blah blah. However, if you cast your minds back in chapter 285 of Dragon Ball Z, Old Kai simply says that a quote terrible guy, end quote, almost as terrible as Boo, sealed him away in the Z-Sword, which is totally fine and not at all a retcon. In actuality, this is something that people get confused. It was a witch that made Old Kai look old. She didn't trap him in a sword. But yeah, anyways, not
Okay.
a retcon, so let's jump on to Yo Son Goku and his friend's return. Alright, so I know I said I wasn't going to do specials and old movies, but this is a new special, and more importantly, this one is canon to the story, so leave me
I
alone.
love
Plus,
that.
there's only two
New
of them,
equals
so
16 years
whatever.
ago.
Number 12. At the end of the Buu arc, a wish was made on the Dragon Balls for humanity to forget Majin Buu, but to recall that Satan saved the world from something. However, in this canon special, the public explicitly shout out that Satan defeated Majin Buu.
Huh.
Number 13.
Okay.
Also in this film, we see Goten and Trunks fail the fusion dance the first time and then immediately reset. This could very
where's the
easily be a
30 sec-
mistake,
where's
but
30 minute
it's very
timer?
difficult to believe that Avocado waited for Goten.
Yeah.
Moreover, if this was my first time watching this, I would have thought they retconned the timeout of the fusion dance entirely. But yeah, that's the special. Time for Resurrection F.
Alright.
Number 14. Frieza got to keep his body in the afterlife, and Hell gets reinvented. Number 15. Shenlong gives Pilaf 2 wishes instead of the usual 3 Shenlong is capable of granting. for some reason. Number 16. Despite Shenlong
The
having
Frieza
demonstrated
thing, I interpreted it as like it's his own personal hell. So like, hell isn't good, like bad enough to wind him up. He just fit in, so like they did something extra.
could bring back Cell's victims in the lead up to the Cell games without concern for their body's condition, he is suddenly unable to bring back Frieza to life because of his body's condition. Number 17. In addition to Lord Beerus, Frieza and King Cold were also aware of Majin Buu, despite the fact that within Chapter 115 of Dragon Ball Z, Frieza claims that he didn't think anyone else in the universe surpassed Captain Ginyu. Okay, Universe 6 tournament time. Number 18. In Dragon Ball Z Chapter 71, Guru claims that the Dragon Clan are the ones who created the Dragon Balls. However,
okay.
in Dragon Ball Super, the Super Dragon Balls are the original Dragon Balls that the Namekians, refined? Chipped away. I don't know. They got them from those big bad boys, and yeah, changes. It's a retcon. Blah blah blah. Number 19. Zuno exists and can answer every single question ever.
Oh my god, what an asshole that was.
Which would have come in handy for Beerus to find an answer to his Super Saiyan
Saying
God
God,
question
yeah.
instead of searching the cosmos for Saiyans to interrogate almost at random. Number 20. Shenlong cannot tell Bulma and Beerus where the last Super Dragon Ball is. He says, and I quote, "Finding a single thing in the vast universe is not within my powers." End quote. Again, this is another limitation. Number 21. The Saiyans' original homeworld was not planet Vegeta, but planet Sadala. Number 22. Trunks' hair changes color from lavender to teal canonically. Prior to seeing Trunks again since the Cell arc, Bulma describes him as, quote, "a young man with blue hair." She has only ever seen him with purple hair in the manga and the anime. Number 23.
Goddamn.
Despite just about requiring everyone's collective power on Earth plus Frieza during Resurrection F to secure a clear signal, Kid Trunks powering up to Super Saiyan is now enough for Goku to lock onto and teleport from Beerus' planet all the way to Earth. Number 24. In episode 50, we're told that Supreme Kais have access to, quote, time rings, and thus can move freely forwards through time, with it technically being possible to go back in time also. However, that's sort of frowned upon. Apparently, this has always been the case and would have come in pretty handy locating Majin Buu or aiding Supreme Kai in gathering information for that effort. Number 25. In Dragon Ball Super Episode 56, Yajirobe reveals that he survived the android's attack. Trunks didn't even know this. Number 26.
Wow, okay,
in
yeah.
episode 16 of Dragon Ball Super, Goku reveals that he
Everyone
and Chi-Chi
just didn't care about Yajirobe. They're like, make sure everyone's okay, and then it's like, oh wait, yeah, you were one of the guys that hung out with us one time as well. And he's like, yeah, I cut off Vegeta's tail. What are you talking about? Anyway.
have never kissed. Now, okay, that might not really be a retcon, but it
was a
definitely
bit of a weird
reshapes
reveal.
how I thought their
Yeah.
relationship worked. Number 27. I was going to say that Trunks using the Mafaba without any risk or drain to himself was a retcon considering the use of it killed Master Mutaito and Roshi respectively. But then I remembered that Piccolo and Kami used it during the 23rd Tenkaichi Budokai with no drain on them at all. So, was that a retcon back in Dragon Ball that I missed? Number 28. In Dragon Ball Super Episode 63, Vegeta destroys the Room of Spirit and Time from within and appears as if it was simply a room within the lookout itself, not another dimension.
Yeah,
Number
okay, that's
29.
yeah.
Katara Earrings fusion is permanent only for Kais and lasts 1 hour for mortals now. Despite initially being described as an item that will keep two beings together forever, this kinda contradicts Boo's internal gas explanation during the Boo saga, though that was originally presented as speculation. Number 30. The amount of power expressed drains the time remaining in the Patara fusion. Number 31. In Dragon Ball Z Chapter 324, Bulma says that she hardly ever sees Goku and that she hasn't seen him in 5 years. The Tournament of Power, however, takes place 4 years prior to the events Bulma makes this claim in Chapter 322 of Dragon Ball Z, so that doesn't make sense anymore. Number 32. While we're talking about End of Z, in Chapter 325, Goku explains that he's been waiting to meet Oob so that he can train him and have a good fight. The way he expresses this insinuates that he's not being excited by a challenge for a very long time. Piccolo even expresses as much. However, all through Dragon Ball Super, Goku has encountered astronomically more powerful foes than that which Boo could ever hope to challenge. He's the reincarnation of Boo, yes, but Goku has Beerus and Whis and Jiren and Broly, and the list honestly can go on forever. With Super, this interaction makes little to no sense now. Number 33. Goku having access to Super Saiyan God without ritual or time limit contradicts what was established in Battle of Gods. He has access to God Ki, yes, not the ritual transformation. You could try to make the argument that Goku accessed that form from before via the ritual, but Vegeta has never undergone that ritual and had access to it during Broly at will. Number 30.
I think, I'm trying to remember, I'm sure Geekdom did a video on how Vegeta managed to acquire the form. So there's some sort of explanation out there somewhere.
For the tingly back feeling is an explanation for how to achieve Super Saiyan. There's precedent for how Super Saiyan is achieved both in Dragon Ball Z's original manga through
Go on,
Goku's
Gohan,
training
just
of
get that
Gohan
tingly back
and
feeling.
Super with Vegeta's training of Kaba during the Universe 6 tournament arc. Number 35. In the beginning of Dragon Ball Z, Roshi explains that he'll just get in the way if he continues trying to fight alongside Goku and co. However, his inclusion in the Tournament of Power flies in the face of this claim. They argue that his skills and strategy may help, but still chooses him over several much stronger alternatives. What happened to not getting in the way, Roshi? Huh? Answer me! Number 36. Dragon Ball Super Broly retcons the character Broly and Paragus into being additional Saiyans who survived Planet Vegeta's destruction. Number 37. It's demonstrated that the legend of the Super Saiyan and Super Saiyan God was known by Frieza, his henchmen, and common Saiyans alike. For Frieza to only reference the Super Saiyan and not the Super Saiyan God ever seems rather fishy, and furthermore, given that Vegeta was effectively raised alongside Raditz with other adult Saiyans like Nappa and co, it's also strange that he heard about the Super Saiyan but not the God variant. Number 38. In Dragon Ball Z Chapter 102, Frieza says, and I quote, "When I attacked the Saiyan planet and fought the king, I won without the need to transform. Your father didn't take long to dispatch." End quote. In Dragon Ball Super Broly, no such fight between Frieza and King Vegeta takes place. He simply wipes out the race with a single attack.
Is it not just a kind
Number
of
39.
time
Shenlong
skippy
only
thing?
granted
Or?
one wish to Chilai and Lemo. Number 40. Gohan didn't catch the Sensu Bean because it's hard for him to see without glasses. Number 41. Anna is seen flying around quite a few times in Dragon Ball Super as a baby. However, her story in Superhero is learning how to fly. Number 42. Vegeta's meditation training. Goku has done this sort of training in the past. However, in Superhero, he acts as though he has never seen or heard of such a method. Number 43. Vegeta says that Jiren wasn't much stronger than either of them, that the real difference came in how efficient he was with his movements and power. Number 44. Piccolo asked Dende to unlock his power the same way Guru did for Krillin and Gohan because Dende is the same type of Namekian that Guru was. But there's a bit of a hiccup. Dende says that he's not old enough to do that, so he suggests to Piccolo that he can use the Dragon Balls to gain that power up. However, in doing so, Shenlong would technically be performing a wish that is outside the power of his creator. This would be a retcon on its own, but that's not where this ends. According to Dende, he can, quote, upgrade the Dragon Balls to grant them that ability. And that upgrade is simply him pouring water over the statue of Shenlong. Excuse me, what? Number 45. When granting Piccolo's first wish, Shenlong threw in a little extra, a new transformation. We had seen Purunga throw in something extra when he repaired Krillin's body for free, but Shenlong doing this is totally new. Number 46. Bulma wishes to have the ass of a young girl and to have her eyelashes extended. It is also suggested after the wishes are made that she has made wishes like these before.
In the past, yeah.
In Chapter 324 of Dragon Ball Z, it suggested that she hasn't used the Dragon Balls 4 cosmetic enhancements to make herself look younger yet. Okay, I'm going to try to list off a few retcons from Dragon Ball Daima now, but keep in mind that the series has not yet completed
quite
as of
fresh,
the making of this
yeah.
video, so these are subject to change. Number 47. Half Saiyans go through a growth spurt suddenly at 15, which contradicts Gohan's gradual growth over time in Dragon Ball Z. Number 48. The Namekians are originally from the Demon Realm, which is hilarious because that makes this sort of an Uno reverse retcon. Number 49. The number of wishes Shenlong offers you out of 3 is determined by how familiar he is with you, which retroactively explains why Pilaf and Sorbet only got 2 wishes in Resurrection F and why Chilai only got 1 in Dragon Ball Super Broly. Number 50. The method through which the Supreme Kai and Kibito split has been changed from the Dragon Balls to Majin Buu again, which brings us to the end of Super. But I did notice some extra retcons along the way for Dragon Ball Z, so here are some bonus retcons. Number 51. In Dragon Ball Z, Kami says that the dragon can group revive people killed by a shared circumstance. But when it comes to reviving people brought back who were killed by individuals, that is limited to within a calendar year, which is another limitation on the Dragon Balls. Number 52. The balls cannot bring back to life someone who has died from natural causes, no matter what. Number 53. In Chapter 129, Guru is contacted by King Kai, but then Guru communicates telepathically with Dende. Guru is established to not be able to relay information via telepathy as he needs Nail to deliver a message earlier in the story. Therefore, Kaio is facilitating this communication. However, it has also been established that Kaio needs to be in contact with you in order for you to connect with someone else. Number 54. In Chapter 109 of Dragon Ball Z, Vegeta says that coming back from the brink of death won't work if he does it to himself, rather than the original claim of Saiyans always coming back from the brink of death stronger. Number 55. In Dragon Ball Z Chapter 200, Shenlong can restore the people killed by Cell, despite their bodies not being intact, contradicting a previously established rule.
Right.
Whew, and so we finally arrive at the end of this long, tediously painful journey. Did I basically read and watch through all of Dragon Ball for this video? Yes. Did it bring me to the brink of my sanity this time?
That's
Absolutely.
funny.
And I won't be getting a Zenkai boost for that. But the good news is, I think both myself and anyone that made it this far into the video should come out with perhaps a better understanding of retcons as a literary device. They really are a tricky thing to dissect, especially with a writing style like Akira Toriyama's. We did get there in the end, but as a special bonus for anyone who is still watching, if anyone is curious, as part of the reviewing process and fixing of the retcon list from the prior video, I pulled my writer Tyson off of his other projects, sat down with him, and had him review every single retcon I outlined in the previous video with me one by one until we sorted things out. And wouldn't you know it, we had the foresight to record the entire thing. So if that sounds interesting
that
to you,
thing on
we
the
have
not
uploaded
a
that
podcast
entire
one,
retcon
right.
review debate session over on my second channel. You can find the link for that popping up in the corner right now or in the video description down below. But for now, I think I am going to go outside and touch some grass because it is much needed. Spending 2 weeks straight locked into my office flipping through pages has altered my brain chemistry, so I am going to go fix that right now. If you enjoyed this video at all, be sure to leave a like and please subscribe if you want to see more content like this down below, or if you are so inclined, please consider supporting me and my team on Patreon. Until next time, I've been Totally Not Mark, and thank you all so much for watching.
Brilliant. I think it's funny that he was like, right, I'm going to do this this video, and then people were like, wait a minute. And then it's, I gotta fix some issues. So then spend the first half of the next video doing that. But yeah, I feel like modern Dragon Ball definitely has some more clearer retcons made that does change stuff that was established in the past. So I don't think there's many that should be argued with in that one. But yeah, that was fun to check out, and thank you very much for watching.
Like and subscribe. Pixel Party Pals. Pixel Party Pals.